Something that often isn't spoken about when you're learning how to sight read in music is the fact that you don't actually have to learn what every single note is necessarily to be able to sight read. You can sort of hack the system by learning what intervals look like. If you can get comfortable quickly identifying the intervals between notes, so that's the gap between one note and the next, suddenly you're a lot quicker with reading melodies, chords, especially when ledger lines are involved. You're not sitting there counting out your lines, counting out your notes, counting out your every good boys or all cows. They can get out of there and you can just focus on intervals. Let's look into it. In intervals, we've got odd number intervals and even number intervals. We're going to separate them into two distinct categories for today because odd numbers go from line to line or space to space, and even numbers go from line to space or space to line. For odd numbers, the closest interval we get is a third, and that's going to look like this. Either one line to the next available line, or a space and the next available space. They're easy to see as chords because they're nicely stacked on top of each other as well. The next odd number interval we have is a fifth. Now that skips a line in the middle, so that's skipping our third and going to the next available line or space. Sevenths are another line or space past a fifth. So you've got two lines or two spaces in between the notes. Ninths skip 3 lines or 3 spaces. And then 11ths skip 4 lines or 4 spaces. Now you can keep going past this. You've got 13ths, 15ths, 17ths, whatever. Like you can keep going as long as you want, but really for the majority of sheet music, you're not usually going to have to go past an 11th. And if you are tackling sheet music that goes past 11ths, you probably have enough musical training that you don't need this. So with our even numbers, they're going to go from line to space or space to line, as we said before. So the smallest interval for our even numbers is a second. They're right next to each other. You might have heard people talk about intervals in skips or steps. A skip is a third, a step is a second. Then we have fourths. Now with fourths, we have a line and a space in between them there, like this. For sixths, we've got 2 lines, 2 spaces in there. And you can think of it as, oh, okay, I've got 2 lines, but I'm going from space to line. So it's a sixth rather than a seventh. Octaves skip 3 lines, 3 spaces, like this. And tenths skip 4 lines, 4 spaces, like this. It's not a really challenging concept to grasp, but it does take a little while to sort of train your brain to look out for the right things, but also train your hands. So as a bass player, you're often looking at a lot of fifths and octaves in music. And so if I'm looking at sheet music, maybe something like this, I can look at that bass line there and go, sweet, I'm just looking at fifths and octaves, what's my first note? And I don't actually have to worry about identifying each individual note. I can just focus on fifths and octaves. Fifths and octaves, that's what I'm playing. Go from there. Now with these intervals in mind, you need to watch out for your key signature because that's going to tell you if you're looking at major intervals, so for example a major third, or if you're looking at a minor interval like a minor third, minor sixth, minor seventh, whatever it is. You need to pay attention to your key signature to make sure you've got the right notes there. And again, same thing with accidentals. So if you've got an accidental coming in there, you just want to make sure that you're staying on top of what you're being given. We'll use that same bass guitar example. So if we were playing this part on bass guitar, I can look at that and go, okay, but what happens if it's a flat? So I then have to look at that and go, ooh, so the interval that I'm recognizing is the same, but the note has changed. Now I'm not saying that this is a substitute for learning your notes, but it's just a helpful tool to have in your back pocket to make sight reading that little bit easier. If you're looking for a way to practice this skill, you can go onto musictheory.net. They are a free website and they have interval recognition exercises that you can do either orally or visually. And it's a really good way to just hop on and practice that. They also have an app called Tenuto, which is quite good. There may be more apps or websites out there as well. Feel free to let me know if there's any extra ones that I don't know about, because that's always a really handy resource to have. But musictheory.net is usually my free suggestion for students if they're looking to practice that at home. I hope that's been helpful. I'll catch you next time.